Welcome to Winncom Technologies. Today we're debuting our custom breakout boxes and hybrid cables. And I'll show you some simplifying of license point-to-point and some all outdoor hot standby installations. I'm Jeff Ellis, and I'll be your presenter today. I'm part of the Winncom Engineering and Professional Services team. From conception through including implementation, Winncom engineers can assist and advise every step in growing a network, along with providing sales of hardware, software, and accessories. We provide engineering consulting services that include end-to-end network design, pre-configuration, system staging and kitting, training through and including certification, on-site services, frequency coordinations, design reviews, system mock-ups for proof of concept and configuration troubleshooting. We can assist with integrators. We'll audit networks and provide recommendations and assist with product selection among our portfolio of multiple manufacturers. On today's webinar, we'll define what a 1+1 hot standby is, and we'll discuss streamlining installations using Winncom's breakout box and cabling components. We'll look at the radio system components of a 1+1 hot standby configuration, the installation of the management cabling, some lightning protection, data cabling, and then we'll look at several examples where the breakout box and hybrid cabling will simplify the installation of a 1+1 hot standby. And then we'll offer a unique solution for multiple Ethernet applications and even look at a 4+0 project. First, let's define what a 1+1 hot standby configuration is and what is its purpose. A 1+1 configuration provides a means of connecting two identically configured radios to a single antenna to provide redundancy for protection against equipment failure. If the main radio fails or the connection to the main radio fails, the secondary radio will unmute its transmitter and become the active radio. The secondary radio has been actively receiving the signals from the other end of the link, so the switch is rapid and near hitless. The two radios are connected to the antenna by means of a coupler. Although the radios are a very clean installation, cabling can be extremely unruly. The Winncom engineering team and product managers have developed an in-house solution to help simplify the cabling installation. This solution is only available through Winncom. This is an overall view of the cabling components that we'll be identifying. Here's a look at the breakout box and hybrid cable pictured with some key components. We can supply you with the exact dimensions of the box and offer the correct mounting kit for the application. Let's begin by identifying the radio system parts for Cambium PTP-820S or Ceragon IP20S, 1+1 hot standby installation, which are single core and single carrier radios. I've selected these radios for demonstration purposes, but the Winncom solution can be applied to various radios and other manufacturers that we can recommend. Here's an example of a best practice tip. These radios and media components have two types of tape covering the waveguide ports. Blue tape is applied to keep O-rings in place during shipment and is to be removed. The amber tape, let's see here. The blue tape is in place to keep the O-rings in place and is to be removed during installation. The amber tape is applied to hermetically seal components and is never to be removed. Removing the amber seal can, in fact, void the warranty if there's any moisture incursion. Let's see how all this fits together and begin with identifying interfaces of the radio. From the left, we have the DC power connection. Then moving to the right is data port 1 and is labeled Ethernet 1 PoE, followed by data port 2 labeled Ethernet 2. This port can accept an SFP, either being electrical or optical. In our usage here, we'll be using optical SFPs. The next port to the right is port 3 or Ethernet 3. This port can also accept either electrical or optical SFPs. Finally, to the very right is the electrical port for management. For the installation of a 1+1 hot standby, we won't use Ethernet 1 or Ethernet 3 ports, so I recommend keeping the port caps in place that are supplied with the radio on these two interfaces, making sure they are firmly sealed. The Winncom engineers can provide more best practices from a simple inquiry. Now let's begin identifying the radio system components. It's best to refer to the two radios individually as the main and the standby rather than active and standby, as either radio could be the active or standby radio at a given time. The radios will mount to the RFUC coupler kit, making sure that the O-rings that are supplied with the coupler are properly in place. Next is the RFUC twist kit. We'll talk a little bit more about this part in a few upcoming slides. Depicted here also is the Vinta mount. This is the name of the mount that will come supplied with the antenna for this particular radio manufacturer. Now let's look a little closer at the RFUC twist kit and its purpose. The purpose of the RFUC twist kit is to allow the polarity of the link to be set correctly between the coupler and the antenna. Notice the twist kit is marked with a V and an H. By aligning the marks on the twist kit to the marks on the coupler, the system can be set to either horizontal or vertical polarity to match the FCC granted license. Moving along, we'll now look at the installation of the management cabling. First, we have the glands to ensure weather-tight connections of the cabling on the radio. The installation will require some Cat5 cable, a pair of protection management splitter cables on each end of the link, signaling cross cables, some RJ45s, and some grounding cable. We'll start by installing the grounding cable from the radios. Next, install the protection management splitter cables by plugging the RJ45 into the management ports of the radios and sealing with the pre-installed gland. Attach the signaling cross cable between the two protection management cables on the labeled protection side of the Y. At this point, let's examine a little closer the components of the lightning protection for management cabling. This is the LPU we'll use. Install an RJ45 onto a short piece of Cat5, whose length will make a jumper from the LPU to the management side of the protection management cable. Be sure to slide a gland on first before terminating the cable with an RJ45 on the LPU side of the jumper that you'll make. Next, ground the LPU. Then run a length of Cat5 that will travel to another LPU before entering the building. Terminate this cable at both ends with the RJ45. This slide shows the LPU connected to the management side of the protection Y management cable. You'll install an LPU on both management protection cables for both radios. There will be LPUs at the other end of the management cable before entering the building. Now let's talk about the cable for payload and traffic. Here the drawing depicts the breakout box, the hybrid optical DC cable, and the jumpers. Let's talk a little bit about Winncom's breakout box and hybrid cables now. The hybrid cables allow us to go from running 6 cables up the tower to just 3. We move the DC surge protectors from the tower leg to the inside of the breakout box. This also eliminates the grounding of the separate surge protectors. The fiber Y also moved to the inside of the box, ensuring a better weatherproofing system. The breakout box will be delivered completely assembled according to the order specifications. It will be fully ready to be installed. It'll be complete with the DC wiring inside the box. Here we see an actual completed assembly of the breakout box. I included the fiber and power jumpers resting on the lid. Here we're showing a single mode fiber solution. The installation requires fiber Y cables inside the breakout box. We'll need fiber couplers attached to the fiber Ys. Fiber jumpers will run from the fiber adapters and out the breakout box to the radios. Then power jumpers run from the DC surge protectors mounted within the breakout box to the radios. This slide shows the cable runs with regards to the radios and the breakout box. Here we have the entire management cabling, breakout box installation, and what it should look like at the end of the installation. This is the schematic of a single mode fiber solution for a 1+1 hot standby system, configured as a split mode protection, where the radios are the components of the protection mechanism. We also have a multi-mode fiber and breakout box solution. With the multi-mode hybrid cable, we're limited to a single DC pair to the breakout box. This is the schematic for the split mode protection configuration using multi-mode fiber. Another way to configure and build a 1+1 hot standby is with line protection, where the protection mechanism is accomplished in the external switch using LACP. This schematic illustrates the cabling requirements for this application using our multi-mode solution. This solution utilizes LACP for line protection only. These are the components used for the configuration of the previous schematic. Line protection can also be accomplished using single mode fiber, using these components. We can also recommend using our hybrid cable and breakout boxes for other applications. This schematic is using another manufacturer's radios to configure a 4+0 solution using 2 dual-core radios. This configuration can provide over approximately 2.8 gigabits of throughput from a single cable from the switch. Multi-mode is depicted here, but the single mode solution is just as viable. Here we're using our hybrid cable to configure a 1+0 multiple Ethernet application using a single cable for both the Ethernet and DC. This is a 2+0 using a multi-core radio. The Ethernet management cable has been removed by configuring the management service on one of the payload ports. This allows for a much cleaner installation on this type of configuration. In this illustration, we're depicting a 4+0 XPIC or CZDP configuration. In conclusion, our breakout boxes and hybrid cables can decrease the cost in materials, decrease the cost of installation, will improve the cable management, and improve troubleshooting. Winncom is teamed with a large array of manufacturers to provide the best solutions for our customers. Winncom sales and engineering teams work together and will address your network projects with best interest in mind. Get to know the Winncom engineering team.